And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm doing something a little bit different today. So looking forward, these are the 7 things NBA 2K could learn from MLB The Show. The reason I'm doing this is I've been playing the show quite a bit, Diamond Dynasty specifically, and I think there are a few different aspects of Diamond Dynasty that 2K could look to incorporate to make the overall experience of my team a little bit better. Now, some of these may be personal preference, but hey, let me know down in the comments if you think these would make 2K better overall. So number 1, choice packs. Now, if you're watching this and you don't really understand what choice packs are, they're essentially the same, looking at the warped reality packs, they're the same as the deluxe packs to a certain extent. That's the closest thing I could really compare them to in 2K. Now, Madden has a similar system as well, and essentially this just means that when you look at the deluxe warped packs, it is guaranteed a player from the warped reality, set. And obviously looking through those, there's multiple cards at each different tier that you could potentially draw. Now, the thing about this is, and I think it actually works a lot better in, games like Madden or even, MLB The Show, is you pay a lot more of the currency. So in this case, you would look at MT and it would probably be somewhere around 35,000 MT for one single pack. But if you look at the space packs over here in MLB The Show, you are guaranteed, just like those packs, a card from the set. Now the thing is, as opposed to drawing a random card from a gem tier, as you would in 2K, you actually are pulling a tier itself. So let's say we're looking at the high tier, you would pull the Dark Matters and the Opals. Now you would be able to choose which one of those that you would like out of that pack. If you look at these, there's 3 diamond tiers, which would be your high tier cards. And if you are to pull the diamond tier, you actually get to pick one of those 3 cards and be able to keep that. And if you get the lower tier, you obviously get to pick one of those cards as well. Something of that nature could work really, really well in 2K's favor, and obviously they could have more than the 2 tiers because 2K still wants to get their money off of this. And it would still work out. It would work out better for the players, and it would work out just as well for 2K in relation to how many packs they sell. Now, as far as limits to the packs like they have in MLB The Show, and I'm not sure they may have limits as well in Madden, that's something that would be on 2K, and I don't really think that they would ever really be in the position to impose limits on the amount of packs you buy. That's just not how they operate and how they make their money, so I don't think that's a realistic thing to ask for them. But these choice style packs, even if they only release them occasionally, I think would do a lot for the game mode in general, and I think they would do a lot for pack fatigue, and on the outside looking in, it makes a better case that they're not encouraging younger people to gamble. Just because in this, it's like a ranked choice type of thing instead of like a random loot box. It's just an overall better look for the company. So I think this would be something that would benefit both them and the players quite a bit. It just kind of depends. It depends how 2K wants to look at it realistically. But I don't think it'll make packs necessarily better. But I think it does bring some things into it. So the next thing that MLB The Show does that I love and I wish 2K would do would be one central currency. So if you look over here at 2K, obviously all you guys play 2K, there's VC, which is purchased by real world money, and there's MT, which is accrued through playing the game or selling cards. Now, what the show and Madden do as far as selling the currency is no different than what 2K does. The prices are basically even the same as well. But having 2 different styles of currency that are both used to buy packs, but one of them is only to buy packs, and one of them is to buy packs and everything else in the game off the auctions, that leads to problems. Now, number 1, that's never been confirmed, essentially. Almost said concerned. But a lot of people speculate that the odds from packs bought with virtual currency, or currency that you buy with real world money, as opposed to packs bought with MT or grindable currency, hit more. The odds are better for VC, which realistically I don't know necessarily if 2K is doing that or anything like that, but it would make a lot of sense from their end, just because with the rise of MT selling sites, which they could easily get rid of by doing exactly what the show does. The show has one centralized currency that you get for both grinding through the game, and you can purchase it if you want to speed up the process. but it is not necessary to purchase currency, or at least implied to be as necessary as it is in 2K. Granted, you can grind VC through, My Career and Park and things like that, which is fine. I think the option for one centralized currency would do a lot for 2K, especially with its image, and for the player base as a whole. Now, the one thing I will say is the fact that you can buy one central currency. I always got to talk about the negatives as well, is I think that does increase the prices of cards to a certain extent, because it makes it easier to buy a bunch of MT to purchase a card. As you can see, a lot of the cards are very expensive in MLB The Show, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that if I want this Miguel Cabrera card, I can just go buy enough stubs to just purchase it outright as opposed to opening packs. But the one thing from 2K's end is, A, they're going to make a lot more money because people aren't going to want to go to secondary sketchy MT sites. Not to say all of them are sketchy or anything, but, the appearance is sketchy. To, buy the currency necessary to do this, I mean, a lot of players do this anyway. So, if anything, this is just something 2K could do to make the game overall a little bit better and make it look a little bit less like they're encouraging underage gambling, which, if for all intents and purposes, opening packs kind of is that. Whether we like to admit it or not, I mean, it's a loot box mechanic, and a lot of the other games are straying away from the more outwardly present loot box presentations, kind of how 2K's packs are, and going more for something like this, and there's a reason for that. They're just a little bit ahead of the curve on that. But like I said, the market may be affected in kind of a negative way during that, but I don't know how exactly that would pan out. But the one centralized currency, I think, is just a win-win for everybody. Multiple grindable reward trees, number 3. So, good on 2K for including the XP grinds this year. I think that was a welcome addition to my team, that it made a lot of headway in making the experience just more enjoyable in general. Yes, the grinds are a slog, but the reward cards have been great. Granted, they are usually matched by a packable card within about 2 weeks after they come out, but that's to be expected. That's kind of how it is in every single game. And I can't really hark on 2K too much, and I think this is something that they're kind of aware of as far as the XP trees. And I think this year was more or less a testing ground for these season pass style things that they're going to do in the future. Because I don't know how soon it's going to happen, but at some point, loot box style packs like this are going to be a thing of the past, so 2K is going to have to try to generate revenue in a different way, and I think purchasable season passes are going to be that, if it ever comes to it, because there's no real reason to outlaw those. So I think if you look at MLB The Show, though, this could do wonders for 2K's longevity, and the amount of people that would play it would be to have all of this stuff. If you look at everything, we have the first inning stuff, which is basically like the level 40 rewards in 2K. It's basically the generalized XP tree. One thing I do like in MLB The Show that I wish 2K would do would be essentially, sorry about that, 2, make it so you earn XP for doing anything in the game. 2K, the way they have it right now, is you have to complete a series of challenges in order to gain XP. Now, other games make it so you earn XP for just playing not only any Diamond Dynasty game, but just games anywhere. If you want to go play, play now in 2K, you would earn XP. You want to play My Career, you earn XP. You want to just play franchise, whatever they call it in 2K, I forgot, My NBA, you would get XP that would go towards your level 40 stuff, which I think is a really good thing. And I do think that 2K will implement this, and I think they'll learn from this experience with the XP. But the other thing is the multiple different grind trees. Just the daily moment stuff, there's a grind tree for that, which I think would be great for 2K. I mean, just look at it. It's good. The team affinity stuff, I mean, that's kind of something that's more geared towards being a MLB The Show type thing. Be cool if 2K were to do something like this, but I'm not trying to get greedy here, dude. I just want some extra grindable stuff. I like the team affinity stuff. It's a really, really long grind, and it's a grind most people probably won't do. At least all of them anyway, but it's cool in the general scope. Here's the one I think is interesting for 2K, and I think this would be a really good thing for them to add to the game, would be grindable little trees with the reward cards. As you can see, to get the reward cards, you would have to go through this extra little, grindable XP tree type thing. And I think that would be a really good thing. Granted, it could make it a little harder to get those cards, which would be annoying, but I think it would be a lot more rewarding. Obviously, still the locker code cards. I don't know anything about monthly awards, so I can't really speak about that yet. But something like this could do wonders for 2K's longevity in regards to it. And I will talk about the evolution stuff a little bit later, and I'll talk more about moments as well. Number 4, more online play options. Now, this is something we've all been asking for a while, so this has not a whole lot to do with MLB The Show. The reason I'm using it as an example is because they have a couple modes that I've been asking for from 2K for a while now, and I think that 2K kind of has to put these modes into play, at least one of them into play. So, like, when you look at NBA 2K, we have My Team Unlimited, which is about the sweatiest possible thing that's ever existed. Triple Threat Online, which I think is a really great mode, and I'm glad they have it. And My Team Limited, which I think, if we look at it in the grand scheme of things, like, this is the thing that really saved my team from being a complete disaster this year. Because Unlimited's borderline unplayable. But My Team Limited is what saved it for a large majority of the player base. Like, I am so happy that they added this mode in here, because 2K21 would be an absolute nightmare without it. If all the rewards were geared towards Unlimited and they didn't have this cool mode, I think it'd be bad. And that's a mode lifted directly from MLB The Show, who has a mode just like that. Now, the play with friends thing. Great mode to keep around. Obviously, you want to play games with your friends and stuff, but adding a casual style mode would be huge for 2K. Make it so the rewards aren't good. You just earn maybe some XP, like a tiny bit of XP, maybe just some MT for the game. Like, the rewards, it's imperative that the rewards for playing the casual mode are not good. Like, that's the key. Because you know why? Because if the rewards are not good, you keep the sweats out of it. Now, if you look at MLB The Show's online modes, they have a ranked season type mode, which is very similar to Unlimited and kind of how it works. The rewards look to be cool. I like that there's multiple of them, but I'm not a big Unlimited guy, so it doesn't really bother me that the rewards are the way that they are. I think the structure of the rewards needs to change a little bit, even if they go back to how it was last year. But then we got Battle Royale. Battle Royale, if you guys remember back to the earlier 2Ks, is basically just pack and play. Like, you draft a 26-man team from either a balanced pool of cards, or you open, like, specific packs that they give you for this event, and you're able to earn prizes, and you can only lose twice. Now, they have an events thing, which is very similar to what Limited is. Obviously, keep Limited. Limited is huge for 2K, but I think the Battle Royale thing is something that I would hope they put in. It's not something they need to compete directly with other video games or anything. I think it'd be a cool mode for 2K to add to My Team, but I don't think it's necessarily something that they have to do. I miss Pack and Play. Pack and Play was cool. Like, I like that. I always like playing modes where you don't use your own cards and you have randomly generated cards. I think those are cool because that really shows, like, how good you are at games. But this casual mode right here that MLB The Show has is the reason that it's even in this list. Because you don't really earn too much at all. You just earn, like, XP and, like, that's about it. Just like 2K, you would earn some stubs or some MT, essentially, and a little bit of XP towards the season rewards. Just a tiny reward. It would keep the sweats out of it, and you could just play the game and, like, actually have fun, which is something you can't really do in 5v5 play in 2K. Everything is so sweaty and reward-based that, like, having a casual, fun game where you don't really try that hard is non-existent in 2K21 My Team. And that's something they definitely need to change, because if the game's not fun to play, people are not going to play it. And I know a lot of people who would like to play online, but it's just not worth it having to play in such, like, a toxic game mode. So something like a casual mode, even if it's just called straight up casual mode or practice or something, would do a lot for My Team in general. I would play it a lot more. I rarely play 5v5s. Number 5, more specific moment/signature challenges. Now look, this one's not exactly necessary by any means. Like, I wouldn't say this is something that 2K needs to address, because I think their challenges this year have been a lot better than they have in the past. And they did do something like this last year in 2K20 with those Spotlight Series challenges. But it'd be cool for them to bring back, because they have at one time had something like this, where it would be recreate famous moments from the NBA. The most important part of this would be to not have to use your cards. Having to just boot, if you start the game and then you go straight over to this, you know, you have your basically 15 starter cards, and you go in here and you just use a team that's auto-generated by 2K and a team that you don't have to own, I think that would do a lot for the game mode as well. Like those challenges, you could make them as hard as you want, 2K. It doesn't even matter. Obviously, I would like them to be relatively easy, but if you want to make them so hard they're damn near impossible to complete, fine by me. That at least is kind of fun, because the ones in MLB The Show are not easy by any means, and with the RNG gameplay that MLB The Show has, makes them even harder. But when you complete them, they're rewarding. They're cool. You don't have to own any of the cards. I don't have to go spend 150k MT to complete one of these challenges. Even if you're just giving us a free agent card and making us use our squads to complete this moment, that's fine too. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter at all. Like, if you have to come through and you have to recreate Kyrie's shot in the finals, so you get the ball with, like, what, a minute left or whatever, and you have to hit a 3, that's totally fine. Even if it's on Hoff difficulty, like, it's a quick challenge. Even if you fail it, you can just boot it back up. You're only wasting about a minute of your life per time. The rewards could even be in an XP-style skill tree like they are over in MLB The Show, so you're not being instantly rewarded with 2 high-tier stuff for completing it. You have to complete a bunch of them. Like, who doesn't want to play that? Like, I mean, let me know down in the comments if you would or would not like any of this stuff to enter 2K, but I really just think that that's my favorite part of MLB The Show, is the little moments challenges, because they don't take very much time. I can retry them like a bunch of times until I get them, and they're rewarding when I complete them. Not even with just rewards in general, but like, personally, I feel good that I've completed them because I know they're tough. Like, if we look at the moments over here in MLB The Show, like, the rewards, they're okay. Like, they're pretty good. They're not overpowered and goated, though. And I think that's a big, essentially, turn on for this mode. I mean, the rewards are good, but not great. I mean, realistically, like, if you look at these rewards that they're giving you for doing this moment stuff, like, they're not that much different from what would just be like a like an agenda style challenge. Like, if you had to do like a really long agenda style grind, they're no different, but they're just more fun to play. Like, just the starting ones right here, like Jackie Robinson, you have to get on base 1 time, don't strike out. Just something like that. Like, these are quick challenges. Granted, they may be difficult at times. They're quick. You can do them in quick succession. Even if you fail, you can boot it right up and try again. Doing it with basketball is going to be a little bit different than doing it with baseball. Baseball is a little bit easier to do as far as these moments challenges, just because of the way baseball is played. But, like, these tops challenges are a nightmare. Like, this Adam Duvall challenge is an absolute nightmare. It's like the worst challenge I've played in any video game in a while. It sucks so much. But you know what? When I completed this challenge, I felt so good about myself. I mean, I can't speak on the hours, not hours, but like the hour of like pure dread and depression I felt before that. But once I completed it, man, I felt good about myself. That was cool. 2K could do something like that. They could easily do something, recreate moments in NBA history, or even the season history. Like this tops one that they have, these are moments that are happening in the season as we're going. So recreating performances from the season, and then you obviously have the historical ones as well, I think would be huge. Even in the team affinity section, there's like a bunch of them that are either during the season or, you know, historic. I think that's key. That's a lot of longevity, and I think when you include some of the offline grind aspects that people like, it seems like when people are talking about offline grind, they talk about other things besides the gameplay. Number 6. Evo Card Art Changes once it's evolved. Another purely cosmetic thing that I don't really think has too much of a basis when we're talking about 2K, just something I'd like to see. When you Evo cards in 2K, their gem level does change, but the photograph, you know, the player model, that stuff doesn't change. Which, I mean, like I said, it's not the end of the world, but it's just one little tweak they could make that I think would make the Evos cooler, because even if the card doesn't get that much better, I would probably still try to Evo it just because it changes in some way, if that makes sense. Like, LeBron would be a perfect example. Like, if he started out as rookie Cavs LeBron, and then as you Evo'd him, he turned into different versions of himself, that would be sick. Like, this Cole Anthony is UNC Cole Anthony, you Evo'd him, he is Magic Cole Anthony. Because if you look over here on the show with their Evos, well, A, they have the little skill tree attached, which I think would do a lot too, but it's not necessary from 2K. But like Jason Giambi, So why they chose Jason Giambi, I'll just never know. But he has challenges, and honestly, you can keep it as the stat accumulation challenges that we have in the Evos in 2K. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, these moments ones kind of suck just as bad as the stat accumulation, and I think in certain instances, the stat accumulation that 2K has is a bit easier and just more user-friendly in general than some of these mission structures. But the key is you go from being a 72 overall rookie Jason Giambi with a card art that matches that, and once you Evo it, it turns into a better version of himself, which would be a 2003 All-Star Jason Giambi, where he's like fat, clearly on steroids, and kind of out of shape. That's sick. I wish that would happen for 2K cards. That would be so cool. They start out as like a rookie Jordan, and you Evo him up, and he's bald-headed demon Jordan from the late 90s. Like, that would be sweet. Obviously, don't let him Evo up too much, because we don't want him as Wizards Jordan, but like, the card art, as you can see, changes. Everything about the card changes, and I think that's cool. Like I said, purely cosmetic thing. It's not really 100% necessary for 2K to do it, but it's just an idea that I think would make their game just a little bit more polished and like better off. I think majority of us would appreciate it, and I think there's cards that I wouldn't normally Evo because they're just not good in game or like whatever. I just don't feel like doing it. But I would do it just purely for that cosmetic reason alone. Maybe I'm alone there. And number 7, no more contracts. Replace them with more cosmetic items in packs, or just more in-game items in packs. Now, if you look at any of the other major card collecting sports games, none of them have contracts. You know why none of them have contracts? Because contracts are awful and everyone hates them. Nobody is going to come in here and comment down below that they like contracts. Nobody likes contracts. Yes, somebody will have a bunch of diamond contracts and make a bunch of MT, and in that regard, they'll like contracts. Like, that's the only reason anybody would like contracts. But you guys know how annoying it is that you have a favorite card that you want to play with, but you don't have any contracts, and you have to pay like 600 MT just to play a few games with that card. That sucks. Nobody likes that. Absolutely. No one except 2K. 2K is the only person that likes this in this entire thing. And I get it. They use the badges for pack fodder, just like additional things they can throw into packs to make them a little bit. You can throw a little diamond contract and, you know, somebody might get happy even though they got a bronze Jalen McHugh. Just replace them with something else. More shoes, perhaps. More coaches. More badges. It doesn't matter what you replace them with. No one gets hyped seeing a 5-game contract unless they're out of contracts. That's it. So if you were to replace them with, say, even if 2K wanted like an additional thing to put in packs because they didn't want to pump up the coaches and badge markets too much, or the shoe markets or whatever, just invent something, dude. Like, just put something else. Put a purely cosmetic items into 2K. Look, at some point in the future, cosmetic items are going to come to my team because 2K is not going to be able to sell packs like they do right now. Why not get ahead of that curve by throwing cosmetic items into the game? Cosmetic items are both a great way to make revenue for your company, and they're not going to make people angry. Because you know what? You can still be just as good at the game without wearing a compression sleeve, or a headband, or multiple wristbands, or those little like armbands that people wore on their legs in 2003 for some reason. It's a win-win situation for everybody, because you know what? I may not like giving 2K money, but if they had an Answer Iverson headband that I could put on, say, Rex Chapman, I would pay $2 for that. Maybe I'm stupid, I don't know, but I probably would. Something of that nature. You're telling me if they gave me the option to equip any of my players on my team with Dada Sprewell shoes, I wouldn't do it. That is $3 is a small price to pay for me to dunk on people with spinning rims on my shoes. So, like, just opening a pack, I actually didn't get any contracts that time. That's crazy. But, look, there's enough stuff already for them to get rid of contracts. They could easily get rid of contracts. They just don't want to, because some people legitimately open packs just to get contracts at this point. But just replacing them with cosmetic items wouldn't be a terrible thing. It would give them more stuff to shove in packs instead of giving the players that people want. So anyways, let me know down in the comments what you think of my 7 things. I am going to do another version of this over on the other channel, basically talking about what MLB can do and learn from 2K to make a better experience. Spoiler, it's not much. So check the description for all my stuff. I will be back tomorrow with more content. Hopefully we get some moments cards, man. And I appreciate all you guys for subbing to my second channel.